The truth revealed. This is why the first wife of the Sultan of Brunei never leaves his side. Why has Queen Saleha, the first wife of the Sultan of Brunei, remained by his side through all the multiple marriages and endless controversies? From the Sultan's strict implementation of Sharia law that shocked the world to the royal family's public scandals, Queen Saleha has quietly stood firm, fulfilling her duties without ever wavering. Could it be out of tradition, loyalty, or perhaps something deeper? Or maybe it's tied to the Sultan's unimaginable wealth and power? Stick around as we uncover the real reason. She's never left his side. It all started when Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin III decided to step down from the throne after 17 years in power on the evening of October 4th, 1967. He made way for his son, Crown Prince Hassan al-Bolkiah, who was just 21 years old at the time. The very next day, on October 5th, 1967, at exactly 3 p.m., Hassan al-Bolkiah became the 29th Sultan of Brunei. But the story goes back even further. When Hassan al was only 16 years old, on July 29, 1965, he married his first cousin, Saleha. Yep, their families were already tightly connected. Saleha's father was the brother of the Sultan's mother, Raja Isteri, the queen consort at the time. It's almost as if their marriage was written in the stars. They grew up together in Brunei's elite circles, so it wasn't surprising when they eventually united. Together, they've had an incredible family, 7 daughters and 5 sons. And where do they all live? In Istana Nurul Iman, the largest residential palace in the world, boasting an unimaginable number of rooms. This palace isn't just their home, though. It's where Brunei's government functions, where state events happen, and where royal ceremonies are held. It's the epicenter of their lives, and Saleha has been a key figure in it all, right by the Sultan's side. Even though Pangeran Anak Saleha has been by the Sultan's side since 1965, their marriage hasn't exactly been a fairy tale without twists. As a royal figure in Brunei, where polygamy is permitted under Islamic law, Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah has had multiple wives over the years, but despite all the complexities and headlines, Saleha has remained constant, always by his side as the queen consort. To be honest, no woman would be really happy if their husband married another wife, right? But Saleha had to accept the beliefs that allowed polygamy. She had to step aside after her husband married another woman. In 1981, the Sultan took his second wife, Mariam Abdulaziz. This marriage caught everyone's attention because not only was it his second, but Mariam was a former flight attendant of Bruneian and Japanese descent, a commoner, in sharp contrast to the royal lineage of Saleha. Yet, through it all, Saleha held her ground. She stayed in her role, continued attending royal events, and maintained public support for the Sultan. The two could even attend royal events together. Mariam, his first wife, was married to the Sultan for 21 years, and the couple divorced in 2003. Sultan and Mariam had 4 children, which increased the population of the royal family even more. Yet, as their marriage failed and as the glamour lifestyle of the Sultan was getting attention around the world, Saleha was invisible and still loyal. By the side of the Sultan, she became the epitome of strength and stability, a character she has not let go of. Then, in 2005, the Sultan married Azrinaz Mazhar Hakim, a Malaysian television presenter. This was yet another high-profile marriage that, like the others, didn't last. After 5 years and 2 more children, they too divorced in 2010. Queen Saleha has always insisted that she had no say in the Sultan's decision to take additional wives despite her position as the first wife and queen consort. Yet, through it all, she's maintained her grace and dignity. While many might expect tension or rivalry, she has chosen to focus on her role, continuing to fulfill her public duties without missing a beat. Whether it's attending formal occasions alongside the Sultan or dedicating her time to charitable causes, she has remained a pillar of strength, embodying the values expected of a royal figure. Her ability to rise above personal challenges has only enhanced her reputation as a dignified and respected queen. Apart from the Sultan's weddings, it is widely known that the Sultan had a life of glamour as a result of his immense wealth. His fleet of cars is estimated to be worth $5 billion, and that is just scratching the surface. The Sultan, in the company of his brother, Prince Jeffrey Abolkiah, was once involved in hosting enormously lavish bashes and extravagant multi-million-dollar parties back in the 1980s and 1990s. Their wealth was flaunted through luxury hotels in cities like London, Paris, and New York, not to mention their massive yacht and other lavish vessels. The Sultan's 50th birthday in 1996 was a true spectacle of excess. He flew in 3,000 guests from all over the world and even hired Michael Jackson to perform at the event, paying the King of Pop a whopping $25.8 million for 3 concerts in a specially constructed stadium. The celebrations went on for 2 weeks, with a polo match featuring Britain's Prince Charles as the grand finale. It was a display of wealth that few could imagine. But could all of this wealth and power be the reason Queen Saleha has never left his side? Some might think so. After all, she enjoys a lifestyle most could only dream of. However, Queen Saleha was born into royalty herself, being the Sultan's cousin, and wealth was never a foreign concept to her. In fact, it's worth noting that while the Sultan's other wives came from outside royal circles and were eventually divorced, Saleha's noble bloodline and her royal roots have kept her firmly in place. Or could it be because she understood that staying by his side would uphold their family's traditions and ensure the continuation of the royal lineage? Perhaps she was never interested in marrying outside the royal circle. Could her loyalty stem from more than just tradition and status, but a deeper understanding of her unique role within the monarchy? You see, although Queen Saleha has remained loyal, the same cannot be said of other personalities in the royal kingdom. Most of the country's revenue comes from oil and natural gas, which have helped raise the status of the Sultan's family to one of the richest and most powerful in the world. However, the bond between the Sultan and his brother, Prince Jeffrey, has not been completely without its problems. Many scandals were linked to Prince Jeffrey, the most outrageous being his infamous spending habits and scandalous lifestyle, including rumors of maintaining a paid harem of up to 40 women, which angered the Sultan and fueled the conflict, forcing Jeffrey to practice exile in the early 2000s. While Queen Saleha has remained steadfast in her loyalty, the same cannot be said for everyone in the royal family. The wealth of Brunei, primarily fueled by its vast oil and natural gas reserves, makes the Sultan's family one of the richest and most influential in the world. But the relationship between the Sultan and his brother, Prince Jeffrey, has seen its fair share of cracks. He led to a bitter fallout, and he was eventually exiled from Brunei in the 2000s. One of the more shocking stories tied to the scandal comes from Gillian Lauren, an American woman who wrote a tell-all book titled Some Girls: My Life in a Harem. In it, she claimed that she was recruited at the age of 18 to join Prince Jeffrey's harem, spending 18 months there on and off, even becoming his second favorite mistress for a year. Lauren has said she had sexual encounters with both Prince Jeffrey and the Sultan, a claim that has been met with controversy, and her book was reportedly banned in Brunei. In a 2015 documentary, she revealed that it was the Sultan's introduction of Sharia law in 2013 that motivated her to speak out. This type of scandalous publicity created a stark contrast to Queen Saleha's dignified public image. For example, she gave speeches at international conferences that emphasized women's rights, condemning violence against women and promoting gender equality. In one notable speech, she said, "The issue of violence against women should be given great attention. We must recognize that there are many forms of violence, and violence against women occurs worldwide. It's hard to ignore the contradiction between her message and the reports surrounding the Sultan's family. In 1998, another woman, former Miss USA Shannon Marketic, filed a lawsuit against the Sultan and Prince Jeffrey in a U.S. court, claiming she had been tricked into 32 days of virtual imprisonment at the Sultan's palace, believing she was hired for promotional work. According to Marketic, the palace was filled with women who were recruited for far different reasons. The lawsuit never progressed, as the Sultan and his brother were granted immunity as foreign heads of state, and the Sultan denied ever meeting Marketic. Now, let's talk about his introduction of the Sharia penal code. The strict laws, including death by stoning for adultery or homosexuality and amputation for theft, sparked outrage worldwide. It was regarded by critics, such as human rights activists, as a shift to a far conservative form of Islam in Southeast Asia, and some presume that the Sultan was attempting to carve out a religious legacy because of the many controversies that his family has encountered. Matthew Wolff, founder of the Brunei Project, summed up what many people were thinking. The Sultan's family hasn't always had the cleanest of reputations. Some see the implementation of these laws as a way to clean up and perhaps create his legacy. The hypocrisy of these laws, given the family's lavish and controversial history, wasn't lost on observers. Yet, through all these controversies, Queen Saleha remained steadfast, never one to publicly react to the swirling rumors or the Sultan's complicated personal life. She has continued to fulfill her role with grace. Whether it's supporting charitable causes or standing beside the Sultan at official events, her loyalty and dedication have never wavered. In many ways, she remains the unshakable pillar of the Bruneian monarchy, embodying dignity even in the face of controversy. So, in your own view, why do you think Saleha has made her stance all these years? And if you were in her position, would you stand by someone through it all? What do you think keeps her so steadfast? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating videos like this one.